What's up, everybody? My name is Honesty Tajay.
And it's Shaka. We're back in the mix, ready to go. Episode 4.
Okay. Thank you for coming back and joining us at the Real Film Podcast. Before we jump off in the episode, we want to remind you, if you have not already, be sure to follow us on our socials at the Real Film Pod on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Spotify and like our Facebook page. We appreciate you. We thank you. And if you want to see more, or if you have something that we haven't spoken about on the podcast, definitely mention it in our comments section or shoot us a message. All right. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to start off with our most favorable top category. That is the What's Hot category. And we got a couple of things that you guys have mentioned and we've seen is trending. So we're excited to dive into it. Up first, we're going to be talking about the series Upload. So for those of you who do not know, Upload is an Amazon original series. The premise is a man suffers an untimely death as he chooses his afterlife with the options of being uploaded, his consciousness, or the mysteries beyond. It stars Robbie Amell, who also starred in The Duff, The Tomorrow People, and my childhood favorite featuring Keke Palmer was True Jackson VP on Nickelodeon.
This is a lot about you, actually. We just lost viewership.
If you were some youngins like me and who loved finally seeing some, not finally seeing, because they was actually doing pretty well on Nickelodeon, but seeing Keke Palmer starring in her own league, in her own little sitcom show on Nickelodeon, you know him on the show. You're such a hater, bro.
I'm just not a fan of Keke Palmer, bro.
We're not talking about them this
time.
We
are.
We're talking about a film podcast.
Have you seen In the Gag Is? Have you seen those videos?
I have seen those. I've seen those.
That was what I couldn't rock with her. And her talk show, I was like, okay.
Whatever. Her talk show was pretty good. You know,
other than the fact that she was giving medical advice to people.
Who doesn't do that on the talk show?
I'm not saying they don't.
Who doesn't? Okay, then why you on her for it?
I don't hear Wendy doing that.
Bye. Next, moving on. The show is back to the show Upload. It is a rough prediction of what an advanced society would be like. So, what are your thoughts on this show, Shaka?
I like it, bro. I think, well, first, I want to definitely shout out Greg Daniels. He created, directed, all that crap. And to, what is it, Andy Allo? She's the lead actress. She's also a singer, bro. I seen she's like a singer first, actress second, I think. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's dope. I might show some in this video. We'll see. But no, I like the show. I think it's one of those things where at first I was worried about it being kind of corny, but as it started to kind of settle in, I think I got hooked. So episode 3, I would say, is around the point when it was like, all right, it became easy to get into it. We're doing spoilers, right?
Yes, if those of you don't know, we always do spoilers on this channel. So if you do not want to hear spoilers about this show, look in the comment sections or the tags or infos and skip to the next section.
Okay,
all right,
go ahead. I was gonna say, it was around the time that we started, it's not that big of a spoiler, but it was around the time that we started to see the plot about how he was murdered. Mm-hmm. And so episode 3 was when the aunt, I think, started really snooping around, and we started.
Was she the aunt? I think she was a cousin.
Her cousin, yeah. So we started seeing her find the footage of the car accident and all that kind of stuff. And then on episode 5 is when major spoilers, she died. So that's when it really, I think, carried that momentum for the next 4 or 5 episodes. So
yeah, honestly, for me, I also, when I saw the previews for the show, I thought it was also going to be corny as well. And I was like, man, I don't really know if I really want to watch this. Also, him as an actor, he plays in a kind of gimmicky, I wouldn't say gimmicky, but it's almost gimmicky stuff. But he also does play in some really pretty good stuff. I remember The Tomorrow People. I was disappointed when that was canceled, but that was a pretty good show too. But then I watched it. I watched the first episode and I was like, dang. Then I'm like, episode 2. I'm like, okay. Episode 3. honestly, when you get to like episode 2, that's when you're like immediately hooked into the show because you just want to know more about the character, and then you also before then see little sneaks about the character, about there being a larger plot at hand, that hey, maybe this wasn't an accident and he was actually murdered. Because even before the cousin steps in and says that she's investigating his accident, we're seeing on the computer screens that his memory files are being deleted, or they're corrupted, or even the person who he would consider his angel, bless you, his angel, notices there's something off about his consciousness files. So I think the show is pretty interesting, and I think it was good in the idea that it plays off the whole comedy romance type of vibe, but it also plays on like mystery and the thriller aspect of like there's a something to be solved and who's going to be able to solve it within this frame of time, which I really enjoy with shows. If you have the ability to do that with the show, I'm automatically intrigued, and they did that with this one. And I think that's one reason why I was able to finish the whole series in one night. Like when I finished it,
You did it
I
in
was
one
like,
night?
I did it in one night. One night. I was like, are you serious? Is this it? Is this how it ends? I was actually really mad that it ended with a cliffhanger, but it was good enough to where I'm like, okay, I can come back to this, when they have a new season. I look forward to the new season. But yes, I was one of the people who finished it in one night, and I had hesitations and reservations about even watching it to begin with.
But we can
So
definitely get into cliffhanger in a second. But I do want to mention the technology, bro. 'Cause I feel like the technology is a big
yes,
part of this show. And so
yes,
at first I was nervous because it kind of felt like they were using all of the technology for the sake of using it, just kind of like showing
mm-hmm,
off, like, yo,
mm-hmm,
this would be dope. We can do this, blah blah blah.
mm-hmm,
Some
mm-hmm.
examples of that would be like the consent, like condoms or whatever.
I could sit and they put it on the chest. It was like a webcam on the
Yeah.
chest.
So it was at that point because I've been seeing like some stuff like, oh, that's interesting, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm,
But that was like the first time I like was taken out of the story. I just started thinking
mm-hmm,
like, yo, this is kind of weird because I think that was the
mm-hmm,
first time we saw an invention that had such obvious plot holes or
mm-hmm,
flaws. Like, why would
mm-hmm,
you want your intimate moments being recorded by the government? So
mm-hmm.
it was like, yeah, that was. But
I
then
think
after,
for
I'll agree, sir.
yeah, I said I think for me what was kind of weird was like or it was kind of like not weird, but it was interesting, was the self-driving cars.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the drivers had the ability to like take over, it was like a video game controller. I was kind of like, interesting that they would use that as a way to be able to like self-drive cars, like for a person to be able to drive the cars. It drew my attention, but it instantly was kind of like, what's the point? Is this just to be fun and to make fun of this, or is it just,
I
does it
feel
have some
like
overall techie type of thing? I think it was just supposed to be fun,
I don't think
like
he's
looking.
supposed to be able to do that. I think it's I don't want to say this, but I got a feeling it's almost against the rules. I don't want to say illegal, but you're supposed to let the car drive itself. So I think that even if you do drive it, I'm pretty sure the other cars had steering wheels in them. They just weren't in use. I think he,
Mm-hmm.
as a coder, knows how to
Mm-hmm.
like plug his controller in. Because when he got in trouble for that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I just assumed he got in trouble just for speeding, not necessarily for the fact that he was a coder and he was able to
To
put in
drive
a
his car.
controller, a game controller, to drive his
Maybe it
car.
was a speeding, but I'm pretty sure that
It
the
was the
controller was just
speeding.
him. The controller is just him though, because I don't think anybody else is
Yeah,
like playing with the life of the PlayStation.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say though, like I think as it progressed though, I think a lot of the inventions or like the technology started to like really like make more sense. I guess like it was more like
Mhm,
for the plot and less for just showing off. So like
mhm,
the sex suits was interesting. Uh,
mhm,
Especially because they show how they're nasty, like their rental suits, like things like
mhm,
that. Like, they're bringing up problems that you would think of, so
mhm,
that's kind of cool. What else? Like the nightly app, like the evolution of Tinder.
Tinder.
That was interesting. It's kind of like that Black Mirror episode. But one more I can throw out, I guess, would be like the first downloaded human. So I think this kind of pushes towards more of like the moral aspects of the show.
Reincarnation, like the whole idea of reincarnation. Yeah.
I think it was interesting that the dude's head exploded because he was so excited. And we knew that was
Yeah.
gonna backfire. But
Yeah.
how do you
Yeah.
feel about the whole afterlife?
Honestly, when I watched this show, it honestly made me very impressed. Like I it's like one of those, what's the show with the horse on Netflix? BoJack Horseman.
Mm.
It's one of those shows where it's like, man, it's deep. It's like really good. It's really deep. But as you're watching it, you realize this is depressing, because all you could think about, if you were him in that situation, how would it feel to like be young, healthy, on like the cusp of something great, and then die. And then all of a sudden that whole sense of connection. So like what I got from this was connection and power, the ability for his girlfriend to be able to, at any moment she could delete his consciousness, because she was financially in control of his consciousness and where it would end up. That was what I got. And then the whole connection thing, him feeling a loss of connection, gaining a sense of connection with this angel, that was one thing. So it's just kind of like, for me, if we and progress into a time period in society where we have the option of uploading our consciousness to servers or just dying, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna go ahead and take the wheel, Lord, because I can't, because that just, for me, just seemed very like lonely. Like that scale of things was very lonely, because one thing I really also noticed and liked about it was showing the class differences.
Mm.
So if you were part of the lower class, you more than likely could not afford the opportunity of uploading your consciousness for afterlife. If you were of the upper class, you had all these different, perks and benefits in your afterlife. So that's what I really like, the fact that they had it like the upper class or the upper middle class had the unlimited, data, to where they can be in their afterlife just living freely, having fun, while you got the lower class people who could barely survive off of just 2 gigabytes of their consciousness. So I thought that was crazy. And it's just like, man, like I can't imagine my mind being uploaded to a server, and the possibility of like my family can't join me or my friends can't join me because they can't afford
Or did
unlimited data. Like that's crazy. Like that was crazy. I really enjoyed the fact that they was including some of the smaller things we wouldn't even think would factor into uploading your consciousness, like the in-app purchases. So
mm.
being able to buy like snacks, or in-app upgrading or boosting yourself to be able to, go to different places in the afterlife. Advertisement, like constantly being berated, because you are in a coded system, so of course you're going to get some form of internet advertising. I thought that was very
In-app purchases.
the in-app purchases. I was like, wow, that's crazy,
It's also crazy too to see like how this is like one company at what's it called, Lakeview. How
mm-hmm.
other companies have different
This
afterlife services
Horizon.
or Horizon. And so it's crazy to see him like leave the premises, and he went to like the black market. You
Mm-hmm.
could like buy all kinds of crazy things on the internet, and he had like stuff like illegal like internet stuff that you would think of.
Yeah, like the memories of past celebrities,
Yeah.
all that stuff. That was pretty crazy. The ability to like evolve, have a growth spurt. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was it was a number of things that were very interesting, but I think overall, I personally just wouldn't be able to do something like that,
Upload.
because like the afterlife sim. So that's why I really like that Norma's
Nora.
Nora's, because he called her Nora, because she was, I remember that. Nora's. Remember, Nora's dad was pretty much like, I couldn't
Yeah.
do this. I liked that he had that perspective of, I can't do this. I could never do this. Like, I need something different. And the idea that there are still people out there that had a sense of there's something beyond just this,
Yeah, the religious view aspect of it is interesting too. And you
Mm-hmm.
see when Buddy freaked out his first day in there, the dad, he went to
Oh,
like test
yeah.
it. I was like, yo, he's
Yeah. Yeah. And then it finally seems like it's going well. And then it was a glitch in the system. So it's just kind of like, it was a lot to factor in. But overall, I think it was pretty good in like showing us, the perks and negatives of something like this. the benefit is the ability to continuously live on. The negative was only those with privileges could probably access something like this. So people with wealth or status could be able to attain this type of afterlife. So I think that was pretty interesting. That's all my opinions on it. I literally watched it in one day and was left like, where's the other episode? So if I enjoyed it, I hope you enjoy it. I mean, those are my final thoughts on it.
For sure. Before we go, I guess we can talk about the ending real quick, because it does tie into like.
No, I don't think we don't need to spoil the show.
All right, well, I do want to say. All right.
No.
I'm not gonna talk about the ending, but I will say, because we've already kind of teased it, like it involves the girlfriend, like the real girlfriend that owns like his. Yes. That's what I want to basically talk about. It's the fact that like somebody can own your consciousness, like a significant other that has money.
Yeah, that's what I talked about, the whole when she was, that scene where she was like, "I'll delete you right now," and I was like,
okay,
that would have messed me up. So
you think she's like a bad person? Because there's like times they show both sides.
I think she's genuinely not a bad person. I just think she's somebody who doesn't necessarily think for herself or have the confidence to make decisions on her own. I think she's easily manipulated, and I think she's easily manipulated by her family in regards to seeking approval and having access. So the only reason why she has access and privilege is from her family, more so her father. So I think it was more so that than anything else. But I don't want to talk about the cliffhanger because I don't want to spoil it for people, because I'm sure there's some people who have not watched it, and I feel like we definitely gave enough for them to be like, okay, I'm gonna give it a shot. We don't gotta tell the cliffhanger. That is terrible. Let's not do that.
Okay, so we're not doing spoilers.
we just did a spoiler, but I just feel like the cliffhanger, let that be something.
Yeah, no doubt.
But we're gonna move on to our next what's hot topic, and that is Betty. Do you want to take the lead on that, or shall I do the honors?
I feel like you should, because you're the one tweeting. Somebody should teach me how to skateboard. Now I see why you said that. Because I went back, I saw like in our group message, I think for our web series, where you posting trailers of this show like a month ago. Like the
skate Yeah. So, okay, the show is called Betty. It's based off the indie film Skate Kitchen that starred Jaden Smith, and it came out in 2018. It is a film. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes, y'all. It is a reboot of Crystal Mosellis, but it's a reboot of her original film, Skate Kitchen, where Betty focuses on a group of diverse women who navigate the predominantly male-oriented world of skateboarding in New York City. It is an HBO series. Some of the topics or general topics or things that you get throughout the show focus on identity, equality, and friendship, which I really enjoy. One thing I did not know this, but I kind of assumed, was that the show features no real stars, no actual sets. Everything is just kind of on the go. There's only a few professional actors on hand, and the main group of women are relatively playing themselves, legit.
So shout outs to them. I definitely did a deep dive into who they were in real life. I watched Nina Moran. She's like the white girl that we see in the very first seconds with her butt out. Yo, what a way to start. But no, so I went and watched her TED Talk and stuff about how she formed Skate Kitchen. So shout outs to her, Rochelle Weinberg, Cabrina Adams Moonbear. That's the black one, the videographer of the group.
There's two black girls. What you talking about?
No, the darker scene. Videographer. Right. I'm bugging. But nah, it's 3 black girls.
Yeah, it is 3 black girls.
Nah, she be out living her best life. I seen her with a Tesla up in the mountains. I'm like, yo, what's going on? But shouts to her, and then Johnny Russell and Dee Lovelace. One of those goes to Cal Arts, and the other one's in some other film school. So they're all doing big things. They all really skate. And that was the first thing I noticed was I want to say 15 minutes in, we got into our little first skate montage. And it was just dope to see all right, they actually found people who skateboard in real life. And it's kind of interesting because it's based off their lives, but it's called Betty. And so I guess Betty is more so just a derogatory name for female skaters that are posers.
Yeah. I guess it is considered a derogatory term. It's like a descriptive term for like female skaters in New York City. So, but like one thing I also want to note is watch Skate Kitchen. With Skate Kitchen, it is literally the same exact, main actresses
Mm-hmm.
starring Betty. The only difference is it focuses more on one protagonist, which is the character Camille, versus all of them, which I enjoy. I enjoy the fact that we're focusing on all of their stories, not just one.
There's one in particular that legit like. All right, I don't want to play this game, but there's one the girl that's like outside of the group, but like it's kind of she's with the dude skaters. You know what I'm talking about?
Camille.
That's Camille.
Camille.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that her like skating abilities. I don't know if it is in real life, but she looks like she's a little more advanced than the
She's
other.
been skating for like 10 plus years, she said. So I did some deep dive on her too, and she has been skating, I believe, for like 10 plus years.
Mm.
And just one of those things, if you've been doing it for so long and then you've honestly, you know, created a sense of like identity around being that type of person, like an influence, like a skate influencer, then of course you're going to try and hone that skill. And I think she is somebody who's really like, I've done it since I was little, and I see me not doing nothing else but this. So
Do you think that it's going to play into like the whole? I feel like it's going to play into the plot though, like because she, I don't think is committed to being a part of this all girl group as much as the other ones. I see her
it's
playing both
very
worlds.
clear. It's
Yeah.
very clear. It's very clear. I feel like how it's going to play out is that she wants to be a part of this girl group when when it's an advantage to her. If
Mm-hmm.
it's not necessarily an advantage to her, I don't see her trying to draw those connections. And I think something major may happen to where it's just kind of like a blow up between her and the girls, to where it makes her reevaluate, like, hey, maybe I do want to have a connection with these ladies, because they all offer something different. They all in that sense of community that she can have. Like at the end of the day, one thing they noticed in the first episode is simply the fact that she's an outsider, even though she might like hang with the boys, walk like the boys, might even talk with the boys, skate like the boys, better than the boys. She would still be considered an outsider. They would still treat her like such. So
Yes, definitely interesting. I think a dope part about the show is the skate montages. Are the skate montages? 'Cause I think that
mm-hmm.
like really pushes the pace. Because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times you get the feeling that you're kind of it's like a free flowing kind of
Chill
show.
type of
Yeah.
thing.
But when they're actually skating, I feel like the intensity picks up, and I feel like they
Mm-hmm.
use that momentum a lot to carry like the
Mm-hmm.
non-skating, like the real acting parts. I feel like a lot of those
Mm-hmm.
follow after those montages, and it just kind of
Mm-hmm.
carries the
Mm-hmm.
weight. So that was cool to
I
see.
agree. I agree.
Do you have anything in particular?
No. I definitely, if you have not watched the show, it's definitely worth it. I have a friend myself. Shout out to Liz. She was pretty much, I've been watching that, and we should talk about it. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch it too. I remember I saw something on the list about it, so I'm gonna watch it. And yeah, it's definitely, I feel like it's something that anybody could watch. Like how the vibe I'm getting right now, anybody can watch. With it being HBO, you probably needed like be careful with the younger viewers, but like so far it's something that everybody can watch and kind of connect with in a little bit of sense, that sense of being left out, not feeling equal, having talent or being way more talented than other people, and them not recognizing it. So it's definitely worth it. If you don't necessarily know if you want to jump into the actual show, definitely check out Skate Kitchen.
Hey, before you leave, though, I feel like you're about to leave. I had two things. Uh, is they're doing like the whole like other plot outside of skating thing because they're showing like the whole was it the Janae and Donald show, and the
Mm-hmm.
Donald dude has like is being me
Might
too.
have My me too. Don't put the air quotes. I think he might have low key really did it. I think he
That's what
might
I'm
have low
saying on
key
air
really
quotes.
did
We
it.
don't really know. Like he's saying
Yeah,
I'm me too, but
yeah. He's got some suspect activities he's been doing. Definitely worth it. Then you have another character who's the videographer. I think she's grown up in a household where it's kind of
Oh, I
like
forgot
she
about that.
can't really reveal her sexual identity, and she lives in a very conservative household. Because you see that with her having, before she walks out of home, how she presents herself to her family as a very conservative, and how she dresses and how she talks and head down. And then as soon as she steps outside, it's kind of like her whole aesthetic changed. Clothing, hair, the way she talks, what she does is completely different. So I think we might be seeing somebody coming out in this series as well, which is cool.
My second thing is, as someone who like, I used to feel like, not feel like, I used to be a part of like a little skate community. I used to be like a skater, I guess, like in school. And so I feel like for me, I feel like there was times, because I follow like, full disclosure, I follow like, bro, like 70 different individual skaters on Instagram. I'm talking people from like Zion Wright and IG Houston, the big guys, to my boy in Germany, 17, I forget his name, little black dude. So I follow like a wide spectrum of like pros and like amateurs. And I think the montages is what really kept me involved with the show. So, but I do feel like this show is definitely towards certain audiences. And I don't really know if this show is geared towards like skaters. You know what I mean? I feel like this show is more geared towards like the average crowd and like maybe younger viewers. But I think they're really playing on the whole like outsider thing and not relying on like, yo, we're making this for like the skate community. And so I feel like I haven't seen very many shows recently that have gotten buzz that aren't really like trying to rely, because they're not really like pubbing it through professional skaters. I don't see professional skaters talking about the show that much. It's not like a skateboarding show.
It's not a skateboarding show. I can definitely say that.
So I
It's
think that's
definitely
also
just
interesting. Yeah.
a drama that focuses around the skate world. So a
Yeah.
drama that has elements of the skate world.
Yeah. I think it's cool. I think it just shows like the evolution of skateboarding to where now there's shows where like it's true to skateboarding with real skateboarders, but it's not about just skateboarding. So you see how like skateboarding has just infiltrated to a higher level of like pop culture, in my opinion, from where it's been. But that's all I got. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah. Well, as a reminder, it's on HBO. The first 2 episodes have already came out, so definitely check those out. Check the show out. The show is called Betty, y'all. But we're going to move along to our next category, and that is keep it short. And so for our last few minutes of this episode, we're going to speak on our most popular category. Honestly, probably one of my favorite categories. I love having deep discussions and all that, but I really like talking about shorts, like short films, short music videos. And we mentioned beforehand on our previous podcast episode that app Quibi, and how it was mainly an app that was for phones in regards to streaming series or short series that you can watch and while doing something on your way to something. And we mentioned that we would talk more in depth about one of the shows, and that show is Most Dangerous Game. I'm gonna let you take the lead on it, Shaka, because you're someone who really was just all the way follow through on the episodes. I'm gonna let you go first.
I didn't follow through like I wanted to, but we talked about obviously a Most Dangerous Game last time, like the whole plot about the guy who needs money for his family because he's about to die. It's like brain cancer.
I believe so.
Yeah, so he's a disease where he's gonna die like, in like 4 weeks, and they're like out of money as a family, and him and his wife have a son on
Who
the
is
way.
pregnant?
She's very pregnant. But nah, so like he decides to sign up for this game where he'll be hunted for 24 hours, and if he can survive, he'll make like, was it like 5 million?
In the millions, y'all.
Actually, I think it's like 20 million. But so like the money doubles every hour that he lives, and it's automatically deposited to his account. And the total amount, I think, was actually like 20 million if he lives for 24 hours in the middle of Detroit without leaving the city or without telling anybody. So there's like 10 hunters, and they're on the hunt. Yeah, so I think for the deeper dive, I think we should start off with the actual watchability of the show. Because as we talked, I got a little further in the show than you did. I didn't finish either, people, so kill me.
So we won't have ending or finale spoilers for you, so you don't have to worry about that.
But what was your experience like getting to the point where he's actually playing the game? Because if you guys watch it, you'll see that there's like the first 4 episodes where it's like the setup. before he actually plays.
So I literally only made it to the setup. Like, I didn't even make it all the way to the game. And I'm disappointed that I couldn't, like, willpower myself to making it to that episode. But for me, it just felt like a very slow burn. Like, it was a slow, endless burn. And I understand it's only 15 episodes. And so, like, they're trying to build a story before jumping you right into what the main plot is. But I just feel like for something that's 7 minutes and it's the idea of giving me a short series, okay, come on, give me the story quick. And I feel like I don't know what it is about Quibi. I feel like I'm watching the show, or at least maybe not Quibi as a platform, but more so this show. I'm watching the show in the sense of like it's a 30-minute episode. This 7-minute episode in my mind feels like a 30-minute
It
episode, and I'm
does.
like, and I can't even finish it. Like, I can't finish it. And for me, like, when I think of something that's a short series, you should be able to move through stuff quickly for me. Like, you don't have to build up so much to me. Like, you spent 4 episodes, almost 5, trying to build me up to the game. Why would you do that to me? You know, all I want to see is the game. That's the main thing. And then you got 10 different hunters. Bro, you could have dedicated 10 episodes alone just to each hunter. Like, I'm just a little frustrated because it was a show where I was really interested in it. And it stars Liam Hemsworth, Chris Hemsworth's brother, Thor's brother, but it's just kind of like it's a slow burn for me. And I like the idea of thrillers, of that cat and mouse game, and it's a chase, and will our character survive? Like, I like stuff like that. But with this one, 7 minutes feels like 45 minutes, 30 minutes with this show. Like, I can't. So unfortunately, I didn't make it all the way to the game.
All right, well, I'll play devil's advocate because everything you're saying, I definitely agree with. But I can see the other side of wanting to spend a lot of time developing the backstory of these characters. And so I do think it drags his feet, but I don't feel like it was an example of too much exposition or too much like explaining. It was just moving kind of slow. But everything they said, I don't feel it wasn't like they were just giving us useless information. Because as the game is now playing, they're able to, because like, all right, in the beginning, it's a lot of like, all right, what does my friend think about this situation? What does my wife think about the situation? Now, when the game actually starts, the pace is like tripled. And now when they cut back to like the wife who doesn't know that he's playing the game, we're able to rely more on like, all right, already know she's like, already know her situation. So you can give me like 30 seconds of her. And I get the picture. Let's get back to him. It's easier to do that now that we spend so much time with them in the beginning. So I do see a positive for it. I don't know if it really makes it worth it, but I will say for those of you that do get past or are willing to get past like the setup, the pace picks up exponentially. So like the first time he actually starts the game, he's like in a diner, and like the dude's like,
don't reveal too much.
No, I'm not. He said it starts now. And like from that point on, with the next like episode and a half, dude's like in constant motion. Like he's panicking. Like he's freaking out. So like it's like real like I can't trust anybody. As it goes, come on, episode like 9 out of 15.
So you're close.
I'm close. I'm in the middle of it. Now I'm like, he's playing the game. It's already like hour like 5. He's been playing like 5 hours. So like those first 3 hours of the show, like 3 episodes, I would say in real time, like it's like panic mode, right? Eventually though, the pace does come down and we settle into like, all right, I made the first couple dumb decisions, trusting people I shouldn't trust. And now I'm like, all right, I've been hurt. This has gotten kind of bloody. Like we're playing the game now. Now it's like, all right, everything's slow.
No holds bar. Okay.
It's like for my sports people, it's like an NBA player, rookie year, first 15 games. NBA is way too fast for him. But by the time the second half of the season, he's like, all right, I'm comfortable now. Let's get to the bucket. Get some chicken. Hey. Put the ball in the hole.
All right. Well, that's our thoughts on the most dangerous game on Quibi.
I'm definitely finishing that tomorrow.
Keep in mind, Quibi is you can sign up. First 2 weeks is free on the app, so you can watch almost everything low key in that first 2 weeks and be done if you wanted to. So it's definitely worth checking out the content. We're gonna move on to our other show that was on the Quibi, and that is You Ain't Got These. That is a docu-series that is hosted and narrated by the great, the honorable, the prestigious Lena Waithe.
Yo. We continue. We have got to do an episode based on the article you sent me because they was coming
Yeah.
at her head. I
They
haven't seen
were.
any negative critiques on Lena Waithe yet. I knew it was going to come eventually, but I think
Yeah.
she's leaving that honeymoon phase. So where now we're
Yeah.
like, it's dope you're a Black creator, but now we can really critique your work. So now I can see
Yeah.
people coming out talking about The Shy, more critic,
Yeah.
all
But
that.
for those who are wondering, this was an article that somebody had wrote. I don't know if it's actually like backed by, I think it's more so like a blog post from Book and Film Globe, and it says Queen and Slim waves in the new blaxploitation. The problem with rooting for everyone Black. That sounds very familiar. If y'all don't know, we talked about the idea of supporting everything Black when it comes to films and how that is a good and bad thing as filmmakers. But yeah, so if you want to know about the article, there's a citation for it. Read it for yourself. But this docuseries focuses more on shoes and more so sneaker culture. What is the fascination of sneaker culture? Where did it begin? And why is it thriving this long? Why is it so expensive? What is your take on it? As somebody who's like someone who is like interested in sneaker culture from the perspective of being a sports fan, what is your take on the series?
I think the show, I think it's actually pretty good. At first, I was kind of like, seen it before, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
a nightly or nicely wrapped package on the same thing. But as it went on, I feel like we got a lot of good information.
Mm-hmm.
I just turned to my notes. So yeah, it's definitely one of those like snappy
Mm-hmm.
edited shows where it's like informative.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that works with these shows because like you're able to see historical context of what she's talking about without losing like the interview. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
interview, and then bottom half is like a bunch of split screen stuff where you're seeing like
Mm-hmm.
Run DMC or you're seeing Michael Jordan or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of Run DMC, the first episode is like general overview of the show. Second episode, they talk about Michael Jordan, Jordans, and so as a sports fan, not really a sneakerhead, but someone who knows a lot about shoes just from being around it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that second episode might have lost viewers because it's like you're seeing like the whole Jordan stuff, and it's like good information, but with the whole Jordan doc in real life, the other one going on, and just it being a lot of like well-known information, I don't want people to like watch that second episode and be like, all right, whatever, I got the gist.
Okay.
Because the third episode picks back up with like amazingly like fresh information.
I feel so bad because I am that person when they lost me.
Oh,
They lost me. I'm sorry. Like I think I made it only made it to maybe like the beginning of third episode. But like honestly, I much respect to Jordan. Jordan is the GOAT. Don't get me wrong, I would never disrespect Jordan being the GOAT, and it's unrefuted. Like there's nobody can say anything about that. Like this man is a dope. He was getting fined, like they said, $5,000 a game for wearing his own shoes playing the game. Like dope. But it's just like for me, I feel like I'm all like Jordan out right now.
yeah, I
But
already know.
I feel like
I am too,
people are,
actually.
I believe people are making so much like documentaries, docuseries, commercials and stuff like that in relation to Jordan, and it's like I get we ain't got sports going on right now, but I can't take it no more. And so when I'm really like I just got done watching The Last Dance. I've been catching up on that. Then you give me episode 2 and it's solely focused on Jordan. Don't get me wrong. Jordan shoes are a big deal. But all I can think is like, man, this is what you spent episode 2 on? Like, I am so tired of this Jordan content. Like I said, he is the GOAT.
You sound
It's
like
just I
Isaiah
feel like
Thomas. Get him
I
out of
just feel like
here.
right now it's like an oversaturation of speaking on Jordan right now, like in regards to like in video work, so videography, docuseries, shorts, documentaries, all of that. It's a lot of it right now, and I just want something different. If you're gonna talk about Jordan, give me something that no other documentary or docuseries has done before. I'm sorry, with this one, I was getting that. Like I was getting that with episode 2. It might have been my fault for not, taking the due diligence of watching the episodes beyond just the Jordan episode. But for me, I'm like some other viewers, and it's crazy because I'm a filmmaker, but I'm like many other viewers were like, if you can't draw me in the beginning, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I've
that's human
lost.
nature.
It's human. If you can't draw me in immediately, then I'm done. And until somebody tells me to check it back out. So, like, for instance, right now, I'm gonna check out The Most Dangerous Game again tonight, and I'm gonna check out, Lena Waithe, You Ain't Got These. But I'm sorry, like, both these shows is just like,
Wow. You
like, I'm
suggested
sorry.
these.
I did. That's the crazy part. I suggested these because of why? The promotion in relation to the show. The promotion for these have been dope. And I already am a fan of Lena Waithe. You telling me there's a docu-series about sneaker culture. We know sneaker culture is so closely related to Black culture, and it's narrated and hosted by Lena Waithe. Oh,
Shout out to James Adolphus, the director, too. I'll give him his credit.
Shout out to him. It's just like, for me, it's just, I don't know. Like, I'm wanting more, and it's just like, it was really hard for me to get past. Go to episode 3 for Lena Waithe, You Ain't Got These. But don't get me wrong, it's dope. She's dope. And I just realized maybe I need to just do the due diligence on my own part to actually follow through and watching the series. One thing I do want to notice I found interesting was that Lena Waithe said, she said, me buying my first pair of Jordans and me being the first Black woman to get an Emmy for a comedy series, she said, one and the same. And I was like,
gassed it.
bro, I was like, are they really one and the same? Are they really? It might really be one and the same for her, but all I can think is,
Nah,
wow.
she's in a moment. But I do think
Wow.
episode 5, which I haven't gotten there yet. Well, no, episode 6, I think, is about sneaker addiction. So I think that has to get talked about in that episode, because that is really like a thing. But I think for her, like, she's from Chicago. And so, like, she was born in 84, in the year
right when, yep.
So we knew that Jordan was going to have to get talked about. So she got it out of the way. And the whole, like, her loving her sneakers, her first pair, as much as like her Emmy.
I think she even said that when she got married too, was like, I think instead of when they got engaged, I think instead of them like giving each other rings, they gave each other sneakers, or she got sneakers as her engagement ring. Like, she is a sneaker fanatic. So
yeah, so hey. But I'll go ahead and preview the other episodes without going into too much detail, just to give you guys a reason to continue. So the one right after Jordan focuses on the artists, like rappers, hip hop communities, connection with sneakers. So it juxtaposes like the athlete compared to like the artist, and it shows just how like Run DMC and them paved the way for that, and it goes all the way up until now with Kanye, and it just talks about the evolution of that process and just how artists are like, doing new things with the sneaker culture. So that's really dope to see. That connection, because it's also like G Unit shoes, the Sean Carters, all that. Next they have like the whole, I think it's called like Black Designers or Black Renaissance or something like that. But it just focuses on Black shoe designers and just Black fashion designers in general. So
Kirby.
Yeah, so that's the best part about that, is that it highlights designers that I personally didn't know. I knew 3 of them, but the other two or three I didn't know. So that's really cool.
Did you know Kirby?
For one, we already talked about him, and yeah, I knew about Pierre Moss. I didn't really know about him too much, but now I feel like I know a lot about him based on, like, because he was in what did we talk about? Oh, the Wale video. He directed that. We talked about him there too. But no, so it was Alayli May. I followed her on Instagram. It was cool to see like her whole thing, because she's like the first female to work for Jordan, design the first female shoe. That's dope. Have Virgil Abloh, of course. We all know Virgil. And talking about his like 2019.
Wait, what did you say his last name was?
Isn't it Abloh or Abo?
Okay.
Is it not
I don't know if that's correct, but
it's Abloh. That's how it's spelled. But
I don't know if that's correct. But I'm not gonna correct you. I just wanted to hear it because I thought I was like tripping. But okay.
Nah, but so I think it's dope because every person they show, it shows how they broke a barrier. It's like Virgil with his spring show. Was it for like Gucci or whatever it was for that? It showed Kirby, Jean Raymond, Pierre Moss, like that whole deal. And with him and Jerry Lorenzo, which is like the Fear of God, it really got into like how the future of Black ownership in the fashion space is with these Black creators who are creating their own brands and doing collab deals. And like the collab deals, like the new hot thing in like the sneaker culture. So it's kind of that. And last person I want to shout out, because I got like images I downloaded from all these people. I only let the screen thing. Was Salehi Benbury? I think he gave a lot of like dope interviews throughout the episodes. So I think he was the most consistently used person. He gave some dope insight. So yeah, all of them is dope to see that. Definitely continue to watch the show.
All right. Well, there you guys have it. That is our 2 shows in our Keep It Short category. We want to thank everybody for coming today and staying tuned for episode 4 of the Real Podcast. We appreciate you. We thank you. But before you go, as a reminder, if you do not follow us at the Real Film Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and check us out on Spotify if YouTube is just not a place for you. But we thank you. We appreciate you. If you want to see something highlighted or you want us to discuss something on this podcast, leave a comment, send us a message, shout us out. We appreciate you and we thank you. My name is Honesty Tajay.
I'm Shaka Benbo. What's my last name? Cool. Shout B94 on Twitter. Hit your boy up. Talk about sports, films, music, whatever. I like to argue.
I mean, so do I. I mean, Honesty Tajay on all the socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Check me out. I mean, you got something you want to talk about? Let's go. I'm ready for a debate.
Check me out. I mean, that's something I want to talk about.
Hey man, I'm tired, but I was happy to have this podcast and discuss these wonderful categories with you all today. Thank you. Peace.
See you.